Welcome back, Bridgewater College 370 students. In this screencast, we're going to learn how to add resources to our Moodle page now that we have it set up the way we want it to be. As you recall, in our last session, we created a sample course, which for me, I'm calling it Hill Sample Moodle Course for Algebra 1. So let's go take a look where we were last time. As you recall, our course is set up, but we really don't have any content in there yet. So today's lesson is how to add content to Moodle, in particular how to add what Moodle calls resources. In Moodle, there are sections for each topic, and we talked about this last time, sections 1, 2, 3, 4. But the section up here in the top part, which I call section 0, or the header section, is where you would put resources that you would use frequently in class, not just on one particular lesson or one particular week, but things that would apply to the whole course. Things like your course syllabus. In our example, I'm going to put the Virginia SOLs up here in section 0. So the first thing we're going to do is to turn editing on. So let's do that. Let's turn editing on. And you're going to see that when you turn editing on, some new options occur. Now we're ready to add resources to our section 0, which we want to be in there for our students. So under add resource, there are several possibilities. I can add files, folders, labels, page, URL, and so forth, and we will learn to use each of these. Let's first start by adding a URL, that is a link to a website that I would like to frequently go to. So, for example, if I had a website that I used many times in my course, not just one particular week, I would put it here in section 0. In my case, the Virginia SOLs are a topic which we would use frequently in our course, so I would need to include those in section 0. We're actually going to add the Virginia SOLs 3 different ways, and you'll learn the difference between adding a URL, adding a file, and adding a page. When you add something, notice that there are requirements. Anything that's in red means you have to put something there. So I'm just going to simply say, this is a link to Virginia SOL website. Okay? So I'm going to put the URL down here. Turns out I already have that site up. It's right here. So I'm simply going to copy my URL. I'm going to use my copy feature, go back and paste it in. And now I'll save and return to the course. I'm going to leave everything else the way it's set and just say save and return to course. When I do, of course, now I've got something new here which wasn't there before. Let's turn editing off and see how it works. So now this is what my students would see. They could come here and click on Virginia SOLs. It then takes them to the website, and they could click on the Algebra 1 link if they want to get the Algebra 1 SOLs. So that's one thing that we could add to our Moodle page. We could add a URL, and in fact you will certainly be adding URLs to your Moodle page because I know there are websites out there that you're going to use when you teach school. Let's turn editing back on again, and this time I'm going to add the same Virginia SOLs a different way. Instead of adding a link, I'm going to add a file, because it turns out I've already downloaded the Virginia SOLs to my computer. So I'm going to now show you a second way that we could pose SOLs for students. I'm going to say this is an algebra SOL. And again, it's easy to forget to put a description here because you don't really see the description. But if you don't put something here, it's not going to take your addition. So you have to put something here. I'm going to say Virginia Math SOLs. And now I'm going to add a document. I'm going to select my file to add. I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go to my personal documents. Here's a folder for Education 370. And inside that folder, here's a PDF version of the Algebra SOLs. Let's open that. Okay. And I'll say upload that file. So now I'm uploading this file to Moodle so that it'll already be there for students. They won't have to go out to the website and get it. I'm going to take all the other defaults here, save and return to course. A little different icon to the left, as you see. Now, let's turn editing back off and pretend that I'm a student now. And this time, instead of going to the website, I'm going to click on this link. And what it will do, of course, is it will open up the SOLs so that I can see them. Just another way to get to the SOLs. Now you'll notice that, and you probably are used to doing this in Moodle, that Moodle creates breadcrumbs. And to get back to where I was, just click back, and I'm right back to the section 0 of my topic outline. Actually, the thing about Moodle that I think is important, and for that matter, it's a classroom management technique, is we want our students to be able to get to things as fast as possible, or if it's something that we plan to show students in class, we want that to come up as fast as possible. And I think it would be very slow for them to have to go to the website, and then after they get to the website to download the file. That would take a while, and not only does that waste time, but for classroom management purposes, it just creates an opportunity for students to get off task, and I don't want that. I want the Algebra SOLs to come up as quickly as they can. So I'm now going to show you a third way that we could have added the SOLs. I'm going to turn editing back on. This time I'm going to add a page. Now the difference is, instead of linking to a document, instead of linking to a website, I'm going to link to a page right on my, it's like a web page right on Moodle. So I'm going to again call this the Algebra 1 SOLs. Need a description, and I'm just going to say Algebra SOLs posted as a page. Again, we've seen them posted as a file. We've seen them posted as a website. This time I'm going to post them as a page. So where does that content come from? Well, we can actually just paste it right in. It turns out that I have the SOLs in Word right here. This is from the Virginia website. I can select all. The shortcut on your computer is just a Control-A to select all, and then Control-C to copy. I'll then go back to my page content and paste them in. And it says, yes, I want to allow access. Well, there's my SOLs. Now I'm going to save and return to course. Now actually, of the three methods that we've looked at, website, link to document, or page, I prefer page because it causes the information to come up quickest. Let me turn editing off and show you what I mean. If I click on Algebra 1 SOLs now, boom, they're there. Looks sort of nice. I can still edit if there's some text here I don't want, but I like that. It came up quickly and it's an attractive page. So I'm going to go back now. Well, since I've now posted the SOLs three different ways, this is a little overkill, I think you would agree. Let's get rid of the first two. I'm going to turn editing on. I'm going to click to the X to delete. I'm going to delete the first one. And I'm going to delete the second one as well. Now that doesn't mean that you won't use URLs or files. In fact, I'm sure you will. It's just that in my case, I like the page option the best of all the options. While we're here, notice that there's other icons that we should learn about. The first icon that we're going to learn about is the arrow to the right. And all that does is it moves the item to the right so that if you had an outline form, this would be indented one space. I'm not going to bother to do that with Algebra 1 SOLs. There's no reason to. The next icon is the up and down arrow. This would be handy if you want to move it somewhere else on the page. For example, if I click on the up and down arrow and decide, oh, I don't really want this in section 0, I want it down here in section 3, I could click, and sure enough, now the item has been moved to section 3. Actually, I do want it in section 0, so now I'm going to move it back. I'll click on the up and down arrows and go up here to the top and click section 0, and it will show up right where I want it to be. Okay. Here's the edit icon. That's the third one over. And this would just allow you to go in and make changes if there's something about this page you wanted changed. Now, I'll give you an example. As I look at these SOLs, I noticed that here are A, B, and C, and I sort of wish they were moved over a little bit, wish they were indented. So let's highlight A, B, C, and let's move them to the right. I think that'll make it a little bit more attractive. And actually, I think there's a couple of other SOLs that have A, B, and C as well. Yes, here's an SOL that's got A, B, C, D, E, and F. Let's move those all to the right just a little bit. So we're going to highlight and move them to the right as well. I think there are 2 more SOLs that have A, B, C, D parts to them. That just for prettiness sake, I want them to be indented. So I'm going to highlight and move. That was Algebra SOL 5 and Algebra SOL 6. As I recall, this is the last one that has parts to it. So having made these changes, the rest of them, I was wrong. Here's one that has A, B, C, D, E, and F. So I guess we better move those over too. Let's move those to the right. And now let's see if we're done. Yes, we are. At this point, I'll save and return to course. You don't actually have to turn editing off to take a look at them. I can just click now, and this time I'm going to see that my algebra SOLs are not only easy to get to, but now they look better because the ABCD is indented and it is in the other parts as well. Okay, so at this point I'm happy with the way this particular SOL looks. I don't need to edit it anymore. Next to the edit icon, there's a ×2, and that's just in case you want to duplicate something. Now, for example, maybe you've got an assignment that you're giving students, and you're given a very similar assignment that's due 2 weeks later. You could duplicate your assignment, edit the date, instead of having to create it all from scratch again. The X, we've already seen, that's for deleting. The eyeball is an interesting one. Maybe I've got a resource that I want to hide from students. I just don't want them to see it yet. It might be a link to a video, and I don't want them to play the video before class. So I can click on the eyeball, and it will hide the SOLs to where now it's grayed out. The students won't see it. So I'm going to click to unhide it now to show it back, because actually there's no reason to hide the Virginia SOLs from anyone. Okay, that's all the icons we're going to go over for now. So at this point, we've talked about adding resources. We've talked about adding files, pages, and URLs. In your assignment in this class, you're going to have to add all 3. You're going to add files and pages and URLs. And we've also talked about editing those once we've posted them using the edit features here that we've seen. In the next video, you're going to learn how to enroll students and also to look at the page as if you were a student, that is, to switch roles. For now, though, remember that we've learned to add resources to our Moodle. See you next time.